You are listening to Viewpoints from PlaceCloud. Cultural researchers tell stories of places from around the world. For the full multimedia experience and to support the creators you enjoy, visit placecloud.io.
We're standing in front of the new synagogue of Livorno. It was completed in 1962, just around the corner from where the old synagogue used to stand, which was destroyed during World War II. That synagogue was originally built in 1607, when it became the central place of worship for the Sephardic Jewish community in Livorno. In the 1600s, the bustling port city of Livorno was home to one of Europe's most remarkable trading communities. Its Jewish residents, many of whom had fled persecution in Spain and Portugal, had forged a thriving, multilingual and trans-imperial network of commerce that stretched from the Mediterranean to the Atlantic. Though excluded from most formal positions of power, these merchants found other ways to influence the colonial systems that fueled Europe's growing empires. From counting houses in Tuscany, they helped shape the fate of a colony thousands of kilometers away. Dutch-controlled Brazil. Livorno had been declared a free port by the Medici in the late 16th century, attracting a wave of Sephardic Jews who had been forced to flee the Iberian Peninsula. Here, in a rare context of tolerance and commercial freedom, they built a cosmopolitan community of traders and financiers. Their lack of formal citizenship in most European states did not hinder them. On the contrary, it gave them flexibility. Operating across religious and national boundaries, these merchants specialized in credit, commodities, and diplomacy. They worked with Protestants in Amsterdam, Catholics in Brazil, and Muslims in North Africa. Stateless but well connected, they played a quiet but powerful role in shaping the early modern Atlantic. When the Dutch seized control of northeastern Brazil in 1630, they inherited not just land, but the infrastructure of a global sugar trade. Livornese Jewish merchants quickly identified opportunity. They already had the networks, capital, and ships. Now they needed influence. They couldn't vote in the Dutch States General or hold office in the Dutch West India Company, which governed the colony, but they could lobby. Through intermediaries in Amsterdam and Brazil, they backed efforts to loosen the company's grip on trade. Planters in Brazil who needed credit to run their mills could rely on Livorno-based financiers. Dutch investors looking for buyers of Brazilian sugar also sold to Livornese agents. As a result, policies that restricted open trade threatened the financial interests of this Mediterranean diaspora. So letters were written, petitions circulated, pamphlets argued that trade should be free, that monopolies stifled the colony's growth and harmed ordinary merchants. Though few of these documents bore the names of Livorno Jews, their concerns were clearly reflected. They shaped the arguments, funded the commerce, and guided the networks through which these appeals reached decision-makers. Rather than operating inside colonial governments, Livorno's Jewish community exerted pressure from the outside. Their influence without office rested on a mixture of money, information, and relationships. They coordinated with like-minded traders in Amsterdam and Brazil to present a unified front in favor of trade liberalization. Eventually, these lobbying efforts bore fruit. Dutch authorities reached a compromise. The company would retain control over certain lucrative sectors like the slave trade, but much of the colony's commerce would be opened, at least to shareholders. It was a typical Dutch-style settlement, pragmatic, negotiated, and shaped as much by outside pressure as by internal policy. For Livorno's Jews, the outcome meant access, not direct power, but opportunity, enough to keep their Atlantic networks humming and their role in the sugar economy secure. The story of Livorno's Jewish traders reveals a deeper truth about early modern empires. They were never as centralized or as controlled as they seemed. Policy often emerged not from state decree alone, but from negotiation between investors and colonists, between companies and communities, and, crucially, between Europe's centers and its diasporas. From behind the scenes, the merchants of Livorno helped shape one of the largest colonial experiments of the 17th century. They left behind few monuments, but their impact traveled on ships, in contracts, and in the subtle turns of trade policy. In a world of borders, they moved between them. In an age of empire, they were crucial in keeping the economy spinning. As the academic Joris van der Tol identifies it, they were lobbying in company.